Welcome to another edition of the Business Brains and the Bottom Line podcast. My name is Paul Deligro, your host, and my guest today is Michael Uadiale. Did I say that right this time, Michael?
Yes, you did.
All right, that was a mouthful. I'm Italian, so I'm not used to these African names. You know, it's a little bit different for me, but it's a beautiful name at that.
Oh.
Well, Michael, you are the managing partner of Smeed CPA. And I kind of was looking at your credentials before the show, and you're a CPA, a CGMA, and an FCA. And I would say that most people have heard of a CPA, but they've not heard of the other two. What are they, and what do they actually mean for your clients?
Let's start from what they mean to my clients. Really, for me, it's more about the difference between someone who is just a scorekeeper and a coach. Because if you take the CGMA as an example, it's a chartered global management accountant. Put it simply,
Okay.
It means you don't just read financial statements, okay? You interpret those financial statements and hopefully use the interpretation to give your clients actionable intelligence from there, all right? That's a certification from the United Kingdom. The FCA is a fellow of the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, where I am originally from. Okay, so I've always been a man of many parts. So that's
all right. Well, I knew you weren't from Italy, Michael. With that accent, I knew you weren't. I knew you weren't Italian. So that's. Well, how long now? You're in the States right now, correct?
Yes, I've been here for 29 years.
Wow. Okay. Well, good. I was going to say, welcome to the States, but you've been here a long time. It's funny. I'm in Texas for like 28 years. I'm still not a Texan, by the way. They won't accept me.
Oh man.
So from what I understand, Michael, you typically work with high net worth, ultra high net worth clients.
Right.
So, we all know kind of what a CPA is, but what do you think the biggest financial mistakes that someone makes that with a high net worth? Just start high level, and then we can really start drilling into the other things.
I would say the biggest financial mistake most high net worth people make is treating what I consider tax planning as an annual event instead of really dealing with it as a year-round strategy. See, if you are a high net worth person, if you're only sitting across the table from a CPA once a year, say in February, then most of the opportunities are gone.
Okay.
Another mistake may be staying loyal to who or those people I call generalist CPAs, okay, who have helped you when you were very small to get to where you are. Now, for me, a generalist does great job where your gross income is like $500,000 and below. Okay, so those will be, in my mind, the two biggest mistakes.
Very good. Well, can you, without giving out certainly client names, but can you walk us through a couple of examples that you've seen with your clients that have made those mistakes and what you've done to rectify that?
Well, I have lots of, by the time people come to me in most cases, right, they have really made such mistakes. And it's in the course of the discovery with them, they realize they've been in a place of mistake. It's very common to find with most of our clients, they have real estate holdings, all right? So most of them we have their businesses, that is their typical cash cow, and then they have real estate activities because the idea for them is to begin to branch into passive income streams. Now, What you will find with most of them is their previous CPAs will be doing clean tax return filing. Everything is legal and accurate. And but nobody has ever really introduced them to something as, in our opinion, as fundamental and basic, such as cost segregation. And cost segregation is basically just a strategy that help you accelerate depreciation on real estate, right? Allowing you to kind of front load your deductions into a current year. Now, it's very common to find that when we implement just that for most of our clients in the first year of them becoming our clients, you will find very easily most of them will be reducing or saving anything from $50,000 and above in that first year. Okay. And that's always a big eye opener to clients because the tax codes
Sure.
is just a playbook. It's a menu. So most people don't know what's on it. And my job is to help them make that order.
Yeah, that would be like a big win, right? If you can, I'm in sales, right? So you got to have some differentiators, right? You say,
Right.
why should a customer buy from me? Just like why should a customer use your service? So if you can show them that easy win right up the front by changing a couple simple things on the front end, you own them at that point, I would think.
Right. And that's exactly the case. So just so you know, nobody comes in to our roster as a client if we are not sure that we can save them at least 3 times our fixed fee to them. That's our internal mantra, in addition to other things. If we are not sure of that, we don't want you as a client because we want the client experience to be an investment for you. We want to be seen as an investment that pays for itself multiple times over our fees.
Yeah, that's a great strategy actually, because I think because you're taking some of the risk on then,
Yeah.
right? You're putting
That-
your money where your mouth is to say, hey, if we can't save you anything, then no sense us doing any business.
no, exactly. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. No, that's a great strategy. I think it's a great but that shows that you have a lot of confidence in what you're doing too.
Yeah, our client selection process is not haphazard. Okay. We are
Yeah.
not taking in the door just anybody who is referred to us or anybody who found us on social media, wherever they find us. Okay. For us, it's a relationship we're trying to build. Just as you, as the prospect, you are trying to figure out whether or not we are your good fit. We are also trying to say, is this a good client for us to bring that value to? If we cannot bring that value, there's no point taking your money. It's not worth it.
Yeah, I love it. I wish more people thought like you, Michael.
Oh no, that's important. That's how we do business, and it's so key to how my entire team operates in their service delivery.
Yeah, well, even though we're in different industries, we're both in sales to some degree, and
Oh yeah,
um, I've always said people aren't going to do business with you unless they like you, know you, trust you, respect you, and you've got to earn that. That's not given, right? So,
every business you are in sales, I don't care what you do for a living. You are trying to take money from somebody, and in exchange, the person is supposed to get a perceived value from you. That perceived value has to be a reality for them. Okay. So there's always a salesmanship to anything.
yeah. Well, I think you may have touched on this earlier, but at what point, there's a lot of small businesses out there that do a few $1,000,000 in revenue, but at what point should at what size of a company should a business owner say, look, I need more than a CPA. I
Mm.
can't rely on just a regular CPA. I need an expert that's going to really help me grow and really be more efficient.
Yeah. So great question. Thank you for that. I don't think the real answer there is a number, seriously. And I'll try to put a number to that. I think it's more of a question to answer your question. I think the client, for example, the business owner or that taxpayer should be asking themselves and saying, does my CPA proactively call me with ideas? Or do I only hear from my CPA when it's tax time? Okay. Um, If the answer to those two questions is no to the first one, and the only time you get a call or an interaction from your CPA when it's time to prepare your taxes, then you've already outgrown your CPA. Okay.
Sure.
Because the honest answer is always sooner than later. If I'm to put a number to that, I would say, as I already said earlier, if you gross in at least $500,000 in annual revenue, you should not be working with a generalist. I mean, you wouldn't use a general practitioner, for example, to do a brain surgery, right? That's not going to happen. At a certain level of wealth, you need a specialist, and the cost of not having one is paid very quietly, but paid every year to the Internal Revenue Service. You're giving away money the government did not ask you for, pretty much.
Oh God, you're making me sick by saying that. But so, again, being in sales, I kind of know, you should always be in front of your customers. So what's a good cadence for you? Like, I know every company's different, but how often do you try to meet with your customers?
Oh, so here's the deal. We have three menus of services for our clients, right? If you are in the lowest of the three menus of services, you are going to have no less than 6 meetings in a year with your client relationship
Okay,
manager. Okay. So if you are asking of cadence, we need to have that constant interaction with you. I think that's exactly my mission. The issue is too many of us in our profession, they do a good job on the compliance side of things, but that's not how the tax code is built. The tax code is not linear. So if you're truly going to bring the kind of value we are promising, there must be a constant interaction between the client and us as your tax advisors. We need to always know what is going on, not just after it has happened. We should already be thinking alongside you what the moves and the ways to make those moves legal, ethical, and moral that you are planning to take with anything that can impact your taxes way before. Okay, I'll give you an example. I had a meeting with a client last week, Friday. He's thinking of selling a property that is going to sell for like 15 million. He's going to be making about 6 million out of it. Now, his desire is to sell that property on or before September this year when the lease on it with the existing tenant is going to be over. But he communicated that to me last Friday. So I need to already begin to think about how do we help him really minimize the capital gains on that 6 million. If you are having only once a year interaction with your CPA, you already lost the game.
sure, yeah, yeah. No, that makes complete sense. So, yeah, you're preaching to the choir, by the way, because I'm a big believer in cadence meetings because you miss out on a lot of things. If you're meeting like once a year, then you've missed so many opportunities,
A
right?
lot, a lot, a lot. It's a sad thing, but I'll tell you up to 60 to 70% of most business owners, that's the kind of love-hate relationship they still have with their tax preparers.
Nice. I got a question for you. So, being in technology, the big buzzwords for us is AI and machine learning, artificial intelligence, and that's affecting every industry,
Mm.
right? How is that affecting being a con? Because I'm, where I'm going with this. I get a feeling that like there's going to be online, AI applications that you can just plug your information in and say, "Hey, help me." What do you think?
So AI is a wonderful, and I think it's the best thing that has happened since the internet age. I am personally super, super excited about AI. Okay. So in my firm, it's a zero tolerance if our staff members are not leveraging AI, because the reality is your clients are already using AI. Okay. So if you, who is supposed to be the advisor, you are not using AI, then you are behind. Okay. So I don't see AI making our profession go away. I think what it allows us to do, for example, is it allows us to become more productive. And I'll give you some very great areas where we leverage AI. Now, typically, for
Perfect.
somebody like me who is a tax strategist, I research a whole bunch of tax court cases and figure how those decided cases fit into my client's pattern as I build out their structures. Now, I can tell you when I used to do that with that AI, it could take me an entire weekend to research all of the relevant cases that is applicable to a particular client situation. I don't spend all that time anymore just researching relevant cases and trying to see how those patterns fit into my client's case. All I do now is I plug the client's case into AI and it gives me the relevant tax court cases, right? So for me, it's a
Okay.
big win. Okay. It's always going to be AI is not taking away anybody's job because at the end of the day, you still have to look at it. The AI will only be a threat to CPAs who are not even using AI. But in terms of productivity, it's only just going to enhance the human judgment. You as an advisor still needs to be able to do that question and say, yeah, I think this is an applicable case to my client.
Yeah, very good. Makes complete sense to me. If like anything else, AI is here, right? It's not going anywhere. And a matter of fact, I think its role is going to get even bigger,
Yep.
right? So if you don't jump on the bandwagon and you're just that old school tax accountant, you're going to be left in the dark, no question.
Yep. Yeah. Human expertise is always going to be the edit on the I see AI as a first draft. Okay. It's the first draft of anything you do. But that humanity and your knowledge as an expert should be what brings that situation to say, okay, this is a right fit for my client.
Yeah. So in addition to AI, from what I understand, you've actually built a product,
Yes, I have
called TraceNet.
a TracNest.
So tell me a little bit about Trace, because I've already in the 15 minutes we've been talking, I can already tell you're not your traditional tax accountant. So tell me a little bit about TraceNet and how that fits with what you're trying to do and AI.
Okay. So here's the thing. I believe in being solution oriented. Okay. It's one of the dangers of what we do is you find that you give advice, but the advice means somebody needs to implement a solution. Um, we built TracNest from a place of frustration in the sense that um, many times we're telling clients, hey, we need you to do this to become audit proof, right? But many times the clients you've given that advice to, they don't know how to do that. And again, now we are in a life of AI. So I had to come up building TracNest myself as me taking my 20 years of experience in audit and tax and say, okay, what has clients gone through? Because the app that we built, that I developed and I built, TracNest, that is an app that is extremely very helpful and needful to real estate investors because that
Okay.
particular section of the code, it's a very favorable section of the tax code that you can truly use to reduce your taxes. All right. As a result of that, it's a highly audited area in taxes. Now, many times, because it's a little bit murky, most people don't even know how to do the proper documentation as to make it audit proof.
Sure.
So what I did was to build this app. I think it should be as we speak. I'm sure it's going to be live tomorrow. I was talking with my developer some 2 days ago because I knew we were going to have this podcast. He has promised it will be live, but it's the best that's out there. There's only one competitor before us, but that person is not a CPA. So what in my mind they built is just a regular time tracking app. But what we have built is a tool to make you audit proof.
Nice.
Thank you.
I love that audit proof. I mean, think about it. I mean, no one wants to get audited. I've never been audited in my life, knock on wood. And I don't think anyone wants to get audited. So I think if you have an app that can develop, nothing's 100%, right? You
No,
can't guarantee anything in life, but if you can kind of greatly reduce the chance of auditing, I think that's a win.
I wouldn't call it. So the idea is not for you not to be audited. The idea is if you do get audited, you win that audit. Okay.
Got it.
Like you said, nothing is audit proof. Nobody is free of audit. All right. But the idea is as much as nobody want that audit, you want to win that audit because if you don't win it, it's not a pleasant experience in terms of additional taxes, penalties, and interest.
Yeah, and then you got a red flag on your account that next year they're going to look at you again.
Absolutely. And then they'll
Yeah,
kind of keep an
yeah.
eye on you for the next 2, 3 years.
Now this TracNest, is this something that you're developing for your own, or is this something you're going to sell to other accountants or other folks?
It's available. It's going to be out there for whosoever needs it to use it. In fact, one of the tools that I built into one of the features on the app is the fact that any subscriber who is using it can then invite their CPA or their tax preparer, okay, into the app. So the CPA or the tax preparer has the visibility into seeing the time that the app subscriber is actually tracking. Again, this is an area of the tax code that is pretty gray. And so most people don't do it correctly. Now, a good CPA, hopefully, who knows the rules of Section 469, should be able to always go in there, look at what his or her client is doing, and be able to tell the client, hey, I don't think you're doing it well or you're doing it correctly. Now, the app also has that feature. The app will keep giving you weekly alerts and letting you know you are on track or you are falling behind because you don't want to get to the end of the year and suddenly find that you've not put in the required number of hours to make that number happen.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that I think that's a nice feature of always continuously being updated, right? I mean
Yep.
that's a good
Yep.
one. So when is, I think you just said a minute ago. So this is launching this week.
Yeah, I think I expect it to launch by latest tomorrow. I really was wanting to see it out there, but I have super tested it with many of our clients who are already real estate uh, professionals. So I'm excited. It's taking me like 2 years to get that thing built, but I'm excited to just be able to even leverage AI even more on the back end of the app so that it really becomes a tool for real estate professionals to use.
Yeah. So how mature is this? Do you think? You think it's ready for prime time right now, or is this
Oh,
something that's going to?
absolutely, it's ready for prime time. It's it's ready for because
Okay.
I've had about over 35 clients really use it on the back end in the last couple of 4 months. Okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, well, I think we've tried to make accounting a little exciting today, Michael.
I try to make taxes an exciting thing. As much as people don't love it, I talk about taxes with a lot of passion because really, to be honest, taxes is one of the greatest and the fastest way to get wealthy. Yeah, I know that is counterintuitive to you, right?
I was going to say, explain. You have to explain that a little bit more.
So let's put it this way. When you don't do any tax planning, here's what happens to most business owners. You are given no less than 2 hours, 46 minutes of every day that you work to the Internal Revenue Service. If you multiply that number of days by your average work life of about 30 years, what that translates into is many people put themselves into a tax jail for like 13 years. If you are doing good tax planning, and good tax planning is not you playing some games on your numbers. Good tax planning needs to be legal, it needs to be ethical, it needs to be moral. You as a client needs to sleep well. I need to sleep well knowing that even if you do get audited, none of us is running around like a chicken. Now, when you do tax planning, good one, what that does is it frees up your cash faster and allows you to have more money for investment purposes. And so that's why I said it's one of the tripod upon which generational wealth should stand. The tax code really, it's a roadmap to financial freedom. Most people don't just see it from that perspective.
Yeah, very nice. So you're not a con man or a crook. Is that what you're trying to say?
No, no. I mean, if you've been a CPA for 20 years plus with a clean record, that should say something about what we're doing. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. No jail time, no convictions. Good. So, well, if a business owner is listening to this right now and he says, "Wow, I don't do any of these things. I just kind of have an accountant that I see maybe once,
Mm,
twice a year."
mm.
What's your advice to them? Like, what things should they be looking for, and what should they be doing next?
I think my first answer will be they should get honest with themselves about what they are paying in taxes. Um, I mean, it will shock you. And Paul, I could pull on you on this one. You may not even know what your own marginal tax rate is. Now,
I
when,
don't. I'm
okay,
not even going to lie to you.
right. So if you are a business owner, you're running a business, and you have no idea what your marginal tax rate is, honestly, that to me tells me you're already losing the game. So that's the first thing. You got to, you see, wealth cannot be delegated. Do you understand? You cannot delegate wealth. Okay, you could make money, but wealth is different. When it comes to wealth, you're talking about how much of all of that money that you made, how much are you able to keep for yourself? You cannot delegate that, not even
Yeah,
to me as your advisor. One of the things that is a drag on most people's wealth is taxes. So if you don't even know what
yeah,
your marginal tax rate is, that to me says, okay, you need to get more serious with yourself. All right. And I'll say the next thing will be have a strategic conversation with a good tax advisor, not a tax preparer. Okay. Because strategy is the key to everything that a business owner does. Okay. The ultra wealthy, they don't take their tax bill on the face value. They don't. Everything they do from the point of conception to implementation, they factor in taxes into it. They have that conversation with their tax advisor before they pull the trigger. So that would be my next advice to anybody who is listening. And then lastly, find a good specialist. We know Smeed CPA cannot work with everybody. We are specialists. We work with high net worth people. We work with people in the healthcare industries, physicians, dentists, home healthcare, agency owners, and real estate investors. That's our niche. So, as much as
yeah.
many people come to us, we don't take everybody in. But you got to find a good specialist CPA who hopefully is also an expert in your industry. Okay? Because
Yes,
the tax code has thousands of tax credits. I don't even know all of the credit, but I have made myself an expert on all of the relevant tax credits that is relevant to the area of my practice. So find a good specialist CPA who really understands and knows your kind of way of making money. If you do that, you are on the way to success because the most expensive financial decision most business owners make isn't the bad investment. It's missing that conversation with the right advisor.
yeah. Now that makes complete sense, and I like the fact that you're a specialist. You have a few different industries and verticals that you specialize in, and you become an expert at them, right? There's some commonalities, I'm sure, to every business,
Yeah.
but like you said, a dentist, real estate, things like that, they all have their unique traits.
Hmm. Yep. So
So
that if you look at the law profession, lawyers specialize a lot, right?
yeah,
Uh, the last 2 days, I've been trying to get a good bankruptcy attorney to work with one of our clients. I've had to talk with a labor attorney that I know to find me an attorney that is in the area of bankruptcy, right? And that's the way most professions like CPAs should practice.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, Michael, I've really this has been great. I hope we've opened up a lot of eyes out there because just obviously if people keep doing the same things over and over again, they're going to have similar results. So this hopefully will change their way of thinking going down the road here.
That's correct.
So, well, Michael, if someone wanted to get in touch with you, how would they do that? If they're in one of your verticals and just wants to have a conversation with you, how would they do that?
I think the easiest way is to send an email to a particular email box that our marketing person is constantly monitoring. Is taxes@smeedcpa.com. That is T as in Tom, A as in Apple, X as in Zeros, E as in Edward, S as in Sam, at smeedcpa.com, SMEEDCPA.com. If you send an email there, the marketing person takes a look at it and then they run it through our engagement team. And if we think we want to have a conversation with you, then they schedule a discovery call. Again, the whole idea is we want to be a good fit. We also want you to feel we are your good fit. Okay. We are not into a car salesmanship.
No, it makes complete sense. I've always said you got to know when to walk, right? I mean,
Right.
You got to know when to walk when business is not smart business, and so it sounds like you're right. You're absolutely doing that.
Thank you.
So, well, Michael, we'll end on that note. This has been a great conversation. Enjoyed getting to meet you and know you. By the way, you seem like a great guy, and hopefully one of these days we get to meet face to face.
Yeah, so I'll be coming back to you again because I do want to go on a promotion of our app. I really will start doing that after tax season next month because I want to get on a lot of speaking engagement where I meet a lot of real estate investors and expose them to what this app can do for them in terms of really making their real estate professional status be audit proof. So for people who are listening, I would say they should go to the App Store and check out TracNest. It's TracNest. So that's where they can find that app, and it's an exciting new beginning for them.
Awesome. Well, we'll end on that note, Michael. Again, thanks for being on the show. And that wraps up another edition of the Business Brains and the Bottom Line podcast. Until next time.